be here. So just to give you some context of where New Jersey sits nationally, New Jersey is an immigrant state. We say we're in the armpit of New York when we're feeling bad about ourselves, but it's true that really, New Jersey is right up there in terms of states with a high proportion of immigrants and even a high number of immigrants when you cut it certain ways. However, you look at what's happening in terms of the percentage change in the foreign-born, New Jersey is not so much really at the forefront of the new waves of immigrants are coming primarily to the southeast, many of you may know, and also to the southwest. So New Jersey is only 40th in terms of its growth in immigrant populations. Now, we really are a border state. Sometimes we say that we're a border with India, much as Arizona and Texas or California are a border with Mexico. And you see that in terms of who's here. But almost half of the people who are foreign-born who live in New Jersey are naturalized citizens. But there's a lag, and so that's one of the things that we work on in terms of some of the work that we're doing at Rutgers. Just to give you a sense of where immigrants are concentrated around the state, you can see here, this is a map put together by my colleagues at the Center for Remote Sensing and Spatial Analysis at Rutgers. And so you get a sense that the population is really generally concentrated toward the north, and some of that is spillover, obviously, and historically from New York. But moving down in southern parts of the state, we're starting to see more and more growth, and I'll break that out for you a little bit further on. Now, if you want to understand how New Jersey shapes up or compares to what's happening in the rest of the country, you can see that it's quite comparable, right? Do you notice differences? Europeans, there are more Europeans in New Jersey than in the rest of the country. And actually, with respect to the Latin American population, you can see that there is some difference. There are fewer Latin American immigrants in New Jersey than elsewhere. But an important nuance there is that there are many fewer Mexicans, people of Mexican origin in New Jersey than generally in the immigrant population in this country. So there is a significant Latin American population, but it is diverse. And just when we look at sort of the general population of immigrants in New Jersey, the three things that stand out really are the size, the significant number of people who are here who are born overseas, the diversity, so there really is no one dominant nation that sends people to New Jersey, and also the education level. So New Jersey immigrants tend to have higher levels of education than those elsewhere, and there'll be more on that further along. We've really undergone a sea change in the country generally and in New Jersey specifically, and this will give you a sense. So up until through really the 70s, and it was just in the 80s. So this is census data, which means that the numbers for 1990 reflect what was going on in the 80s. And it's really in the 80s that you start to see a transition from Western Europe to Asia and Latin America. And you can see that by the 2010 census, that trend has really taken hold. And, there's not a European country left in the top 5 countries. Now here's a map, a pair of maps that show what has happened to the Asian population. And this is, so Asian Indians, now these are both people who were born in India and people who were born in the US but are of Indian descent or parentage. So you can see a real intensification of the pockets where Indian families are located in the state, right in that center, kind of Middlesex, and moving out somewhat over the course of the decade. So some of you will be able to locate your homes and businesses around here and recognize what's going on. But also spreading north and west, which are areas of the state that have less experience with immigration. And that's part of what we're seeing, even in the tensions that have developed around the country in the last 10 years. Part of the state where there's a lot of agriculture, those populations have grown over the last decade, but also a real intensification up around the northeastern part of the state. Notice this is really a change up in the northwestern quadrant of the state. Is on high-end, high-skilled immigrants. And New Jersey, this is pretty startling, I think. Only 3 states have more H-1B visas than New Jersey does. Now, you can see that California obviously is the distant leader, but New Jersey coming in fourth with the population. If you think about the population of New Jersey, which is about under 9 million compared to the general populations of those other states, it's pretty startling that we would even be anywhere near the top of this being employers in New Jersey. And you'll see that you'll recognize a bunch of the names, or a few of the names anyway. Some kind of, it's a little bit actually like the map of nationalities, because you see sort of some of the old standards. You know, Barclays Capital Services has probably been around for a while. The National Science Foundation show that immigrants make up half of New Jersey residents with master's degrees, and over 40% of those are PhDs in the sciences. So, you know, not surprising that all the biotech companies, the pharmaceutical companies, the hospitals around us really depend on having skilled people born overseas. One of the projects that we've worked on in addition to the mapping at Rutgers is looking at the challenges of integrating immigrants and helping them become citizens, because that really, for immigrants to be a thriving part of our polity, they have to be able to vote. And they have to be able to, you know, feel confident to join a union if that's what they want to do, or join a parent-teacher organization in their kids' school, to really come out and be a part of their communities. And so what we've been looking at is the rate of the share, of the population, of the foreign-born population that is naturalizing in New Jersey, of how incredibly difficult it is in the present day to legalize yourself if you're not legal, and even once you have a green card, it's not so simple. It's an arduous process, and a costly process, and a scary process. So, you know, for everybody's sake, as we've heard, it really makes sense to simplify it. At Eagleton, at the Program of Immigration and Democracy, we're really engaged in doing research to better understand sort of the facts of the situation, as you've heard, who's out there, what the challenges are. And also in the service component most recently. And also to say that the data that we did, that we used to create some of those maps, comes from partly from community-based organizations, which are really where the rubber meets the road, as I said, for these immigrant communities. And we're then turning that data back over to the state in the form of New Jersey 211, which is you may have heard of this, it's a kind of referral line, so you can call and get, if you need, you know, a place to find ESL services in your neighborhood. You call them up and they will make a referral if you need, you know, Polish information about child care or domestic violence. They'll make a referral. So we're participating with them and helping them get better information about who is out there in immigrant New Jersey, because we really are a little bit too siloed. We held our first naturalization ceremony at Rutgers this year. So the point is, we're really trying to sort of realize that this is where we are and that there's a lot to be gained for everybody. And Rutgers wants to play a part of that and you obviously all do too, which is why you're here to learn more. So thank you very much.
Thank you.